Hi everybody, it's Emini Trading. I want to do a video today for you on market profile and to try and teach you some of the basics of identifying trend on market profile and talk to you about rotational factors, talk to you about normal distributions, flat distributions, and how you apply those in identifying trend days and non-trend days. Okay, so let's get cracking and let's talk about this distribution, which is S&P futures, the ES, and talk about how this distribution here looks very flat. As you can see here, there's no bell curve to this at all. So in trend terms, it is a very good example of how you identify trend days on market profile. So I want to split these letters out so you can see there, and you can see how each set of TPOs was gradually making higher highs and just basically scaling up the ladder to higher highs to where we closed one tick off the highs. So you can see here the first two sets of TPOs, which is here. This is the initial balance, okay, the IB. Now the IB is what is supposed to form the base to the normal distribution. So from there, price is meant to be distributed across that IB. And in this case, okay, we had an IB that wasn't very large. It was actually quite tight, but from there we broke out and we kept on making higher highs on the TPOs, the time price opportunities. So what we need to look at now to identify that it's a trend, apart from seeing it in front of us, is what's known as a rotational factor, the RF. And in this case it was 22, which is very high. Now the rotational factor comes about by assigning plus or minus 1 to each of the TPOs as they make higher highs. Okay, as we continually rotate higher, there's more numbers added to it and the number is higher. So you find where there's a normal distribution, it will be very closely centered around plus or minus 0, plus or minus 3, plus or minus 4. That is considered to be even plus or minus 7 or 8 is considered to be a sort of normal distribution, or a day that is not a non-trend day. For a normal distribution, that high and that low must be made on the initial balance. So in this case it wasn't. You can see we edged higher all throughout the day, not going into any of the driving forces, just purely looking at these time price opportunities in the market profile to explain the price action. So now let's clear off this screen, and I take those spaces out, and you can see again it's very flat. See the volume profile, there's lots of bulges on the volume profile. They correlate to the different sets of TPOs. I split it again, you can see here, and you can clearly see where volume's traded, and then you can clearly see how rotation has occurred through that volume pushing price higher. Okay, so now I want to replay for you how the day transpired on this market profile chart. So if I hit this play button, we can see over here the letters as they're forming. Okay, so we've got the A's forming. You can see here as it's chipping away, B pushing higher highs, and C coming in, C then making higher highs, D, okay, E, F, G pushing higher, H pushing higher, I pushing higher, J, K pushing higher, L also pushing higher, M pushing higher, and last but not least ends, where we finish the day to finish at or near our highs, one tick off it. So you can see how this rotational factor and this formation of TPOs is very handy in identifying rotation in price and identifying trends. So I'm going to flick across to another profile that occurred today. That was on the EC futures, and you can see that it was a very, very normal chart, almost very spooky, but it was a sideways price action for most of the day. So before the market opened, the pre-market, we had the big move up, but from then on, once the market opened in the regular trading session on the currency futures, it was very much sideways and very, very boring in price action. So again, I just will highlight on this market profile chart of the EC futures, that was the high, that was the low. You can see there the first two sets of TPOs, that makes up the IB, the initial balance, and you can see from there that that then formed the base for the rest of the distribution of the price and TPO's time price opportunities. Okay, so I'll split that out now and show you. You can see all very, very concentrated, all very, very boring, but helps you to stay out of the market in times where price is not giving you any opportunity to make money. Okay, one last thing I highlight on this chart here, that the rotational factor, remember we talked about that, there you go, -1, very, very normally distributed. So there's a few tips and a few basics on market profile. I hope that helps, and look forward to updating you again soon.